chat filter corrected.
It would help if I actually had my pencils anywhere close to where I'm at. Would I do something that makes sense though? That's no fun. Well, at least if you're gonna do the oopses, you do them before people get in the room, and then nobody knows it either way. Until I post this later on my actual. Go. Sometimes it is a good thing that it takes a few minutes for people to make their way in. Gives me a chance to get stuff together because on a good day I'm a mess. And this is the last live for this week because I do have to work the next couple of days. But if you've been around a while, you know that's pretty much standard for me. I do Monday through Thursday, and then I work the weekends. And then I'm usually back for the next Monday. Once in a great while, I'll take a day off in there, but it's pretty regular. And we are giving this a very, very light color, and then we're going to go back over it with silver and then gold, just to give it that almost marble effect. I'm a huge fan of this artist. She always does amazing work. And of course, my birds are throwing their usual afternoon fit because I am in the other room talking and not paying attention to them, which is an everyday deal. Hello, Akbar. How are we doing today? I actually did remember to tag the actual artist of this in my description. She does have a YouTube channel. It is rather incredible if you want to pop over and take a peek. But this is a coloring book of hers that has been bought and paid for. But I still like to give credit where credit is due because she does amazing work. I'm not 100% certain how to pronounce the first part, so I'm going to say hello, Christina. This is not my artwork. No, it's my book, but it's not my... I am not the artist. I just color this type of work. I cannot... It is not fake. It is a purchased and paid for coloring book. And this artist is actually tagged in my description if you want to go take a peek at that. This is a coloring live, not a drawing live. So I wish I could draw like this. This woman has incredible talent, and I will happily give her all of the credit for her talent. So people are welcome to have opinions, but there's no need to be rude in my chat. The only person who has any grounds to give me a hard time on this is the original artist, which is why I made it a point to make sure she gets the proper credit. because as much as I would love to claim that I could draw even teeny tiny bit close to this well, I can't. I am not this kind of artist. I can color, I can paint, I cannot draw. What we're doing now is just adding silver over top of the light tan that I just put down. And then we're going to do the same with a gold. And we're going to smudge them together to give it kind of a marble kind of look. Which, just to show you, even though you guys can't see the color as well as I'd like, because I cannot get my camera down as close to the picture as I'd like. Well, I could, but you wouldn't be able to see all that much. You know what it is? At least once every single live, I get somebody in who wants attention. I just want somebody to chit-chat with me. Doesn't need to be anything too difficult. I am getting the big part out of the way first. That is not an accident. I want to get into the details in just a bit here. Actually, I think we're going to hold off on the gold and we're going to do the gold on those coins instead. But you can kind of see there. We're just softening it up a little bit. Now, if somebody does comment in the chat, I don't necessarily always see it right away. It is really impossible for me to look at the page and at the chat at the exact same time. If I could do that, I would definitely do cooler things than color with it. Would be a very neat talent to have. Be able to see clearly in two places at the same time. I would abuse that power. I would create mischief because I can and because that is just who I am. My cockatiels have opinions. Apparently they do not want me creating mischief. They do a good enough job on their own. What exactly is fake? The fact that I am doing a coloring live in a coloring book, or I'm not sure what exactly your fake is about. I am not claiming credit for this artwork, to the extent that the actual artist is tagged in my description if you want to take 2 seconds and look. Hello, Jasmina. I do apologize. It took me a second to catch that. But this is actually one of my favorite books to color in because she did an incredible thing and actually pre-shaded the pictures to where I don't have to take a crazy amount of time figuring out how to make it look good by shading as I'm coloring. I can just enjoy the process, which is definitely something I enjoy. No, it is not fake. I am not the artist, but I did actually pay for the book. I also did tag the artist in the description because she's incredible and she deserves all of the recognition. But there's always going to be people who want something to gripe about, and that's okay. If that is how they feel they need to, what they feel they need to do to feel relevant in someone else's space, we're not going to give them too hard of a time for it, because not everybody has the confidence to just get out and step outside their comfort zone and do something real with their time. Me personally, I very much enjoy doing this, and I am not stressing over somebody who doesn't have the courage to do it themselves. And if I really, really wanted to, I could very easily go in and remove comments. I don't generally do that unless they are offensive or what I would deem inappropriate, which is usually talking about things that are very, very adult subjects. Hello again, Jasmina. I think I want a little bit more purple on her waist. I also want a very, very light metallic tone to add to the wings, because that gold is just not showing up much at all. So she's going to have pretty, just pale purple wings. Because why not? Because we can. Because it's kind of fun. Hello again, Jasmina. I am not sure how having you say hello, but I'm happy to have a conversation if you want to chit chat. I can't be looking at the camera or at the phone the full time, because that makes it very hard to color. But I do pop over and check every so often. We're going to make her a redhead, because we can. I do very much enjoy these books. And these are available if you want to have your very own book of her amazing work. I got mine on Amazon. But a little bit of search can show you all of the different places you can buy these books. She has quite a few out there. I love them. I have a couple myself. I have a holiday one that will, as we come closer to the holidays, we'll do a little bit of. But right now, I was in the mood for this guy. Or girl. So that's what we're doing instead. There we go. And I just realized she's holding a coin. I wasn't really paying that close of attention to realize that before. So I'll have to go in and give that its tone to match the other three, or the others. I do apologize if I get to coloring a little too hard and shake my camera. I'm not 100% certain what that is supposed to mean, but I mean, if it entertains you, that's okay. I am not holding anyone hostage in my life. If you are not entertained, there are probably dozens of other people who are currently live as well. You are more than welcome to go and go see if they're a little bit more along your lines of interest. See, some people, this is their main, like, income and things like that. For me, this is a hobby. I am not making any money off of this. I'm literally just doing it to entertain myself and occasionally other people who come on to see what I'm all about. And I'm perfectly happy with that. Sometimes I get somebody in who gives me a really good bit of conversation. Sometimes I get a bunch of people looking for attention. I'm not really fussy about either one. Everybody has their thing. I don't need to fuss over what somebody else's thing is. And I'm really starting to wonder if I forgot to turn my Do Not Disturb on. But, oh well. As long as my phone's not making too much noise, we're good. I'm not too worried about it. Let's get some greens in here. My teals are just going bonkers in the background. They have been very chatty today. And that is just part of owning birds. Sometimes they're chatty, sometimes they're chill. My conures are actually being pretty good today, which is surprising. They're usually my noisy ones. But, of course, now that I've said that, I'm sure they will start probably making a racket before long, because they kind of need to. But that's okay. And this is what I was talking about, where I really love the grayscale books compared to your normal black and white. Shading in all of this would be really, really tricky. An artist with a whole lot more talent than I have already did the hard part, so I can actually just enjoy the process. And I cannot even begin to explain how much I appreciate that fact. Let's get back here. I'm not going super crazy with a ton of different shades of green today. Just because the different areas are so differently shaded that I can kind of get away with one tone for most of it, and it doesn't look like it. And that's where the shading comes in, the grayscale, which you can kind of see is the basis of the book. It is a grayscale coloring book. If you've never done one and you do enjoy coloring, I recommend looking for one, whether it's this artist's work or another's. It really is a whole different level of entertainment because you don't have to stress over it as much. It's much more relaxing, much more enjoyable. I do try to give this artist credit when I'm coloring in this book, because it feels like it's the right thing to do, in my opinion. If I had somebody if I knew who did the other books that I have, I would absolutely love to give them credit, but unfortunately, most of the ones I have don't actually give credit. Ooh, pardon me, I just knocked you guys right on over. Didn't go as planned, did it? Let's tighten that back up. Maybe, possibly, fun. Cooperate a little tiny bit. Well, if you were wondering if I am really here or not, I guess that would give you a hint. We'll just knock the whole thing over, because why not? I'm just glad it didn't hit my drink, which is literally right above my drawing. Welcome in. You just missed a very entertaining moment where I knocked my entire camera over. Stuff happens. You laugh it off, or you don't. But I'm usually one to laugh it off because that was a ridiculous moment, and I thought it was kind of funny. But we got her back up, so... I am kind of sad I haven't had too many people pop in and actually look to chit-chat with me today. There we go. And that's how it goes. Some days I get a lot of engagement in here. Some days I don't. I'm not too stressed over it. I enjoy it more when I have people to talk to, but I'm not really too overly worried about it. I think we're going to give this little leaf guy blue eyes. I think blue peering out of the green will be kind of nice. We're already getting close to done. Excuse me. My birds are once again weighing in on their opinions, which is nothing new. My cockatiels have decided they need to be very loud. They must be heard and acknowledged, or they will just continue to yell. Calliope. She's yelling at the cats. Okay. There is nothing I can do there. She's just going to yell at the cats because that is who she is. And I really, really wonder what the point of Do Not Disturb on this phone is, because I do get all of the notifications. Thankfully, I'm not screen sharing to do this, because that would get really distracting really quickly. They don't make noise, so I mean, that's a bonus. But they are definitely popping up left and right. Almost forgot we still have the browns to do. And I missed this little plant here. Kind of peeking around. How's everybody doing today? We're gonna take this blue and just very, very lightly. Doesn't need to be crazy dark or anything, just a little bit. Just to give it that kind of differentiation from everything around it. that this is in fact water. Calliope is very, very upset that there are in fact cats. She has opinions about this today, apparently. There we go. Now we need a pretty brown. Those are getting in my way. Yeah, that would have done a whole lot of good, wouldn't it? It's just been one of those days. Actually, put my shorts on inside out this afternoon. Took a shower, changed clothes, put my shorts on inside out. Didn't realize it until I went to try to put some in my pocket. I just noticed that. That is her hand holding that thing. I almost painted that into the wood, or colored that into the wood. Wouldn't have been crazy noticeable, but I would have realized it eventually and it would have bothered me. I also have just a hint of leaves here. There we go. Never hurts to stop and fix a little oops. Every little bit makes a difference. And it is very, very human to make mistakes. I make them all the time. I don't stress over them. Unless they're life-threatening or altering. But those are rare. Sometimes things feel like they are that big of a deal. But when you really step back and look at it, how often are they really, that big? How often do you make mistakes that are so big that they will actually change the course of your life? I want to know why my tripod is not wanting to stay standing correctly. We are off balance, and it is really annoying. Oops. Okay, sorry for jerking you guys sideways there, but we are now much more stable. Somehow or another, things got jostled around, and she was off balance. And that is no good. We can't have an off balance tripod. It doesn't work well. We are almost finished. I'm very curious because the algorithm picks something random out of each live to make a short out of. I wonder if it'll pick me knocking my tripod over as its random moment for today. It would be kind of funny. I would probably actually share that. I don't always share the short that it grabs. If I don't think it's really worth sharing, I don't. But sometimes I do. But we have reached the end of this one, and I am very happy with how it turned out. And I will not be live again until Monday. I don't try to do content over the weekend, but I will see you then, and I will talk to you next time.